Apple might have figured out a creative way to give iPhone Air users what the current Air is missing. Samsung's Galaxy WideFold continues to make headlines, and this time from even more credible sources. Apple just surprised us with the first of many launches for 2026, though this time with accessories. Samsung's official launch and price of its Galaxy Z TriFold sounded actually better than expected. And yes, Samsung just begun to tease one of the most important updates to its Galaxy S26 Ultra. I'm Jaime Rivera, and it's that time again for another 5 interesting topics. This is Tech Briefing powered by MediaTek. The official news today begin with Apple, which was actually kind of unexpected. Rarely has the company launched products in January, with the first Mac in 1984, iTunes in 2001, the iPhone in 2007, and the iPad in 2010 being the only ones I remember. Still, Apple has just launched its second-generation AirTags, which we've been expecting for a bit. The thing is, the design remains kind of unchanged as opposed to some previous rumors, and in my opinion, that's actually a good thing. I know a ton of people who own lots of accessories for them, so this makes the barrier of entry much easier. If anything, they're microscopically thicker, but we have the same durability at IP67 and the same CR2032 batteries, which last for about a year. What changes really is a much appreciated update in its functionality. They include a second-generation ultra-wideband chip, which extends precision finding by up to 50%, and which is now even supported by the Apple Watch Series 9 or later. There's also improved Bluetooth for overall better tracking distance. There is a redesign internally as well, allowing the speakers to be 50% louder. Now, for these to work, compatibility is set for iOS and watchOS 26.2.1 or later. Pricing remains pretty much the same at $29 each, or $99 for a 4-pack with free engraving still included. I'll admit I'm looking forward to giving these a try, though I'm curious to know what you think about this update in the comments. Now let's switch to Samsung, as the official news we've been waiting for just got confirmed. Ever since the company made its Galaxy Z TriFold official, there was just no way to not wonder how much it would cost. With the Z Fold 7 costing $2,000, no one had high hopes for the TriFold, and yet it seems it won't be as bad as we expected. Samsung just officially expanded its Galaxy Z TriFold to the United States, with sales starting on Friday, January 30th. The device will be sold exclusively through Samsung.com and select Samsung Experience stores, making it a very controlled launch. Here's the thing, the price tag is $28.99, which surely makes it the most expensive phone currently sold in the United States, but still not as expensive as we were expecting. If you do the math, the TriFold launched for around $300 less in Korea, though with crazy tariffs and everything, it's hard to know how much it would cost for it to get imported. Michael Fisher spent like $5,000. Would I buy one? Well, without carrier subsidies, it's a far stretch, but after playing with it at CES for a few hours, I'm not gonna lie, I am compelled. The TriFold is more than just a phone, and I'd say it's more than just a tablet. The idea of this new DeX letting you use it as more of a computer replacement we've all wanted is pretty compelling reason to consider it. My initial impressions are that it doesn't feel like a first-generation product, but at that price, it is a niche product for sure. I'm curious to know if you're getting one in the comments. And let's continue with Samsung, though this time about what to expect at the company's Galaxy Unpacked within the next few weeks. So far, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is pointing to be a subtle upgrade, at least in visuals, though features are a different story. First is that, according to Tipster Eyes Universe, the device is finally jumping from an 8-bit display to a 10-bit panel, which, yes, is a great improvement over the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but here's the thing, I think Chinese phones have had 10-bit displays since like the Oppo Find X3 Pro back in 2021. What makes Samsung's approach interesting is the privacy display feature, and by the way, the company just kind of made it official today. In a recent batch of videos, the company is sort of showing off that the display will ensure onlookers won't be able to peep into what you're doing, which is unique for sure. Obviously, the videos are sadly like an ad targeted for consumers, so there's really no explanation as to how this works just yet. Beyond the display, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to run on the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset, providing faster processing, improved AI capabilities, and better energy efficiency. Incremental camera improvements are likely, including enhanced sensors, computational photography features, and improved zoom capabilities. Samsung is expected to unveil the device globally next month, with sales starting in late February or early March. I am definitely curious as to why the company is going with a two-step approach to the camera lenses for sure, and now I'm just hoping it doesn't wobble as crazy on a table. I'm curious to know what you think about this in the comments. But let's continue with Samsung and sprinkle a little of Apple news, though now focused on the future of foldables. At first, we thought the rumors of the Samsung Galaxy WideFold were just speculation, but now we hear about it again from more trusted sources. If you were wondering why, well, Samsung is reportedly gearing up for a major push with its upcoming WideFold device, aiming to produce around 1 million units as it positions the phone as a direct counter to Apple's long-rumored foldable iPhone. According to ET News, this would mark Samsung's largest initial production run for a special foldable model in the past, 3 years? The WideFold is set to feature a 7.6-inch folded OLED display with a 4:3 aspect ratio when folded, paired with a 5.4-inch cover screen, a format that closely mirrors what is expected from Apple. Apple's foldable iPhone is rumored to arrive later this year or early in 2027 with a similar 4:3 inner display measuring around 7.7 inches and the wider, shorter 5.3-inch outer screen. Now, analyst Ming-Chi Kuo estimates Apple could sell 8 to 10 million units within its first year. Sources are calling that Samsung's plan is for the WideFold to be ready for the company's summer Galaxy Unpacked to launch right next to the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Z Flip 8. The question, though, is if this will be some sort of a limited special edition. I doubt it, but I am curious to know what you think about what happens in the comments. And before we get to the hottest news, let me tell you about today's sponsor, MediaTek. Yes, the company powers most smart TVs in the market today, but what if your current TV is already aging and getting sluggish and you're not ready to upgrade just yet? Well, meet Google's TV Streamer 4K, powered by MediaTek's 8696 processor. It allows you to pretty much turn any TV or monitor into the fastest smart TV money can buy. It gives you full access to Google TV and more than enough RAM for you to jump between applications without these having to reload all the time. It lets you control your smart home with ease and even pair your Pixel Buds for whenever you want more immersive watching. It's yet another example of how MediaTek powers some of the smartest experiences in the world today. Thanks to MediaTek for sponsoring this video. And finally, for the hottest news today, let's talk about Apple once again, though this time about its more conventional launches. For those of you wondering exactly how Apple might fix the fact that the iPhone Air doesn't have more than one camera, it seems the company figured out a creative solution. A known leaker says that Apple is working on an ultra-thin Face ID module to free up internal space, potentially allowing the Air to add an ultra-wide camera alongside the main lens. And this does actually make sense. If you think about it, Face ID and its selfie camera is actually flipped backwards on the original Air for probably those same space constraints. This would be a response to complaints that the iPhone Air's extreme thinness has led to too many compromises for $999. Reports from multiple sources suggest that Apple is actively redesigning the internals to better balance battery size, camera hardware, and overall thickness, though I'm hoping it's ready in time for the iPhone Air 2. Now, as for the pricing of its next iPhones, well, Apple and pretty much every other company is facing pressures from expected DRAM shortages in 2026, which could drive memory costs up by up to 10 to 25% compared to last year. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo says Apple will still try to keep the iPhone 18 prices steady, even if that means taking a hit to its profit margins. Thanks to its massive scale and negotiating power, Apple has been famous for securing long-term supply deals that many competitors don't have access to, and which caught companies like Samsung off guard with the recent iPhone 17 launch. I mean, if the price remains the same and the rumors of the iPhone 18 being able to support Starlink satellite services natively are true, this is pretty much a checkmate when it comes to competition. In today's question, let me know. How much would you be willing to pay for an iPhone Air 2 with a second camera? Because in my case, I don't think I'd be willing to pay more than it currently costs. I think that would be the sweet spot for people to not think twice anymore. I'm curious to know what you would like to do in the comments. Friends, again, thank you so much for joining on another episode of Tech Briefing. Please like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments, as I'm sure you've seen me try to respond to as many as I can. Also, follow me on social media as more behind-the-scenes work continues to happen there. Guys, believe it or not, I still have reels from CES. I might not end up doing the recap at this point. It's too late, but the reels are there. There's just so much coverage. This was a great show, but we're already gearing up for MWC and Galaxy Unpacked. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.